Dear Twin Flame souls out there, welcome to the Twin Flame Awakening Journey podcast, and today is an episode 189. Welcome back, my beautiful soul over here, and if you're new here, thank you for joining us for this beautiful journey or a painful one. I wonder how are the energies going on with you at this moment. A Lion's Gate is approaching. Jupiter is moving into a Leo, into the highest abundance, and what we can feel at this moment can be also that we feel the biggest contrast. We feel longing, we feel separation, we feel so lost that we don't understand why. And in today's episode, I am going to walk you through why this journey can be such a contrast of one another. You have felt the love that you cannot describe to anyone, and at the same time you are feeling the separation and longing that you cannot explain to anyone. Why is it there? And believe me, I have been through that. And during this time when we have this Lion's Gate, I know that energies are getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And why? Because the sun, the masculine energy, is projecting onto us, and we, so-called energetic beings, are feeling the push towards something that we cannot explain. And that's why during this time we do see a lot of awakenings. So of course, feel free to let me know how are you feeling this time and this moment. But in today's episode, I am going to dive into what is the whole purpose of this. One of the most common questions I get asked on the channeling calls or on the consultation calls or on social media, what is the full purpose of it? I don't see anything good of that. In today's episode, I am going to walk you through what is the purpose and why you might feel that. And it might change the way you feel about this journey and the outcome. I believe one of the biggest part of our pain is that the mind tries to predict the outcome. And so the mind has its own ego involved, of meaning of it says, I want it this way. This has to be the outcome, and if I don't have this outcome, I cannot be happy. And this is a vicious cycle where we can get stuck very quickly, because once you've been awakened with this magical energy, which we can call love, which we can call unity, which we can call however we wish to, there isn't much where your mind has the answers. And that's why the expectations will always lead you to the disappointment. The more you have expectations, the how it should be from your mind, but not trust from the soul, the harder it becomes. Because the number one lesson of this journey was to come down to the love. And love is the answer. But the only way we're going to remember the love, and this love the way we are feeling it at this moment, is through the contrast and the separation. I'm going to bring in some laws of polarities, laws of how is it working. In a way, for me, it was the same thing. And believe me, I have been through everything you are going through, one form or another. And one of the most common things on this journey, I also see that where we talk about soul's purpose, how I'm going to find my soul's purpose, how I'm going to know. And here I'm going to calm you down for a second, and I'm going to say to you, there is nothing you need to find. Your soul purpose is not what you need to find. Your soul purpose is to remember. And remembering does come through the experience. We will not remember things if we do not experience it. And also, we have to experience it somehow, the total opposite. I remember in my very early days, I started working very young, but someone said to me that try to do as many things as possible to figure it out what you like and what you don't like. Because when you figure it out, the opposite contrast, that makes you to realize what you actually love. And that's why when I was 20, 21 years old, a lot of people said to me, it's incredible, how do you know what you want to do in life? The truth is, I didn't know what I wanted to do in life, but I had seen the contrast, what I don't want to do in life. And as I had these two polarities, it helped me to go towards where I wanted to go. And it's the same story of a love and separation. On Twin Flame Journey, the separation feels like a punishment. It feels so unfair. And often I hear and I see it where we feel, but I'm doing everything right. I am a good person. I am meditating. I am connecting. I am trying so hard. But at the same time, I do not have my twin in my life. But here is, I'm just going to say one thing. When we do things because of our mind is expecting that this is what's going to happen, we are going to be meeting our good friend expectation, and expectation is going to lead us to the disappointment. And why do I tell you this story? Because a year ago, when we had our Lionsgate event, of course this year as well, I'm going to dive into this very briefly over here, but I talk about it at the end of the podcast. This year is also, we have a full day Lionsgate event and online. And this time you get to experience full day what it feels to be on our physical retreats, and you can do that from your own home, which I think is beautiful. But a year ago, we had 3 Kundalini activations. And right before I'm going to talk about this, I'm going to say as well, the reason I use Kundalini energy on a twin flame journey is because we cure the bite with the poison itself. Isn't that the same way that when a snake bites you, you get the antivenom from the snake? The hospitals are holding the venom in there that they could cure you with the same. And Kundalini is the same thing. When you get activated with a Kundalini by meeting your twin flame, so now the only cure of coming back to it is treating with the same what got activated. So actually the math is very, very simple. So that's why during the Lionsgate, I love connecting to the energy of Kundalini. It's extremely powerful. I already have received many, many messages from you where you are saying, what is going on with me? I feel so intense, meaning of I'm getting a lot of downloads. I might not sleep at the moment. I feel information is flowing through me. I know it's something magical is about to happen, but at the same time, I'm also feeling this intense pull that is breaking me apart. I know, I've been there. But a year ago, and actually this journey is inspired by her. A year ago, we had the one beautiful soul on our workshops who's been attending, I think by that time, 1 year of doing the workshops, being present, feeling it there. And at that time, she was absolutely heartbroken when she joined. Her life was falling apart. There was not much in the way of happening. And then somehow the energy, my podcast, through this energy, she found this and she joined our workshops. Despite the fact that maybe financially she wasn't exactly where she was supposed to be, but still she found this $5, and like I said, I think it's $6 or something like this for monthly on Patreon, where you can join, and you can join for free in the beginning. And then one day after the Lionsgate, something magical happened, and I bring you into that journey. And we have the recordings of this on Patreon, those who are wanting to see this in live, but it's all there. So why I talk about this today? Number one is, of course, that our Lionsgate is approaching. And I'm not here to force anyone. I'm not here to tell to anyone what to do or how to do. But I'm here to remind you and remember for you that something is pulling you towards magic. Something big wants to awaken inside of you that can be shown to the world, can change your life and can bring you to the union you're seeking for. Now I'm going to say the union might be very, very different than your mind is predicting, because the mind has this is what's going to happen. 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. So the mind cannot accept that, let's say, maybe 1 plus 1 is 1. It cannot accept that. And why do I talk about this is because of your outcome is from remembering. And that's what happened to me. So let's just dive into today's, from the very first law, and understanding that everything is in a correspondence, the law of correspondence. And I've spoken about this quite a lot. So everything happens, what is within us will happen outside of us. So as below, as above, as below, as we know it. So, and also as within, so without, as in the smallest, so is in the greatest. And I remember, and why do I talk about the correspondence, law of correspondence? And I've done all the episodes about the energies of laws, what we have in the universe. But I remember when I went on a retreat. So this retreat happened during the Mahashivaratri, and at that time I had no idea about Mahashivaratris or Lions Gates. I didn't know. But of course, as I say, that as much as we are ignorant, or our mind is ignorant, or our awareness haven't reached to that point yet, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. But your soul will make a decision what you have to be, where you have to be, and how you're going to be. Here is why I also say that those who's going to end up on a Lionsgate with me on 8th of August, and we celebrate this all together, the soul has already made that plan. Because when I woke up another day and he told me this year it's a full day retreat, and I said to myself, full day, how can I do this? Like, how can I make this happen? And the soul was like, there is no how, why. You have to do the full day retreat online. And of course, one part of me was also that many times people were writing to me that I want to attend your retreats. I want to come to this. Your workshop have changed my life so much. I want to all of this. I want to. But let's say we have work commitments. We have children. We can't travel so far in all the places. Although I'm going to say that where you have to be, your soul will make it happen. This happened on Italy retreat, where people who couldn't be there, let's say financially or against all the circumstances, ended up there. And that's why I know that everyone who has to be somewhere, the soul will put you there, regardless of your situation. And that's why I also say that I highly recommend to listen until the end of the podcast, because there is something very special for Lionsgate that is given by another soul who has been practicing, I think, from the very beginning, and seeing her growth is incredible. So I'm so glad that everyone who has connected and finding their path, because that is also part of it. But let me go back to the principle of correspondence. And why is it there? Because I've spoken a lot about it. That when I went to that retreat and there was this channeling session, and on my channeling session, and I didn't speak about twin flames there. I did not say anything. I was quiet as a mouse in that sense of my inner world. I did not want to talk about my inner world to anybody. I was very loud of talking all of the other things because of my intellectual brain, and was always the one that was protecting my inner world. I did not want to show to anybody my pain. The same way when I was going through the dark night of the soul, if you look at my socials, you will see that I am the most so-called glorious person out there, because I knew how to mask it. I knew how to show I'm happy, I'm strong. That's why I never judge the book by its cover, because of meaning of that on this journey, and even with your twin, even when looking at somebody else who might look very happy, very content, making a lot of fun, it's all about the life. And I hear that very often on this journey where people coming, yes, you know, my twin is like this and he's happy there or she is happy there. And I say, yeah, I was also. So be careful what you're seeing and tune into your heart and knowing what is actually happening. I will talk about on one of our upcoming episodes how do we actually know that telepathy happens between people and how is it when we are forcing to feel, because that's another big thing on this journey. I'll get to this in another episode. But I want to also talk about it that on this twin flame journey, one of the big thing that keeps us stuck is, like I said, the outcome. So meaning of that we don't get our closure. And I have spoken about this as well, that for me, it's very different than maybe it is for you. That's why I don't like putting personal story of mine into a projection into somebody else. Because number one, I never had a relationship with my twin. So it's a very different story. Some of you who had a relationship and some of you who didn't have a relationship. Number two, uh, when we are in a different situations. I had love in my life already when this situation happened in my life that I couldn't make any sense of it. Many of you don't have a love in your life. You're single, you are seeking for each other. All of it is there. So, and there are many other things. That's why I say that none of the journeys are the same. Now, the only thing is what I'm trying to tell you is that when you are staying in a state of, but this is the only person I am going to be with, and this is the only answer. Meanwhile, you're getting ghosted messages. The person says, I'm not interested. I don't want to be with you. And you are still playing the old story, but they are my twin. I love them. They have to be with me. Believe me, when you are going to listen to today's episode, you're going to follow these steps. The love is going to come to your life in a way that you least expected. Because none of this here is accidental. None of it. And you know that deep down inside of you as well. That's why you're listening to this podcast. That's why you have had sessions with me, for example. And deep down, the soul is telling you, yes, this was for you to remember love, but not attachment. And you are remembering love through the separation, but you are also remembering what is not love. So all of this is here for you to remember. So now let's go back to the law of correspondence, because why is it matters. When I was told on a retreat through the channeling that do not be selfish, it is not about you. You are here to awaken your husband, awaken your twin, and guide others. And I remember how this all of a sudden, like all of it made sense to me. And I realized I have been very selfish. So, not in a way that we would think of selfish, but I'm going to get into that. So, everything what happens within us reshapes what happens without. And the awakening that happened within ourselves, which happened inside of me, and it happened most probably inside of you as well. And now when we're holding it inside of us, it's an incomplete transmission. And what do I mean under this is that you were just shown something very deep and very magical. The fact that you met your twin is a magical story. Now, of course, I was asked another day, as every one of you who contacts you, are they twin flames? And what turns out if they are not? And my answer is, and even if they are not, it doesn't mean I'm going to tell them, well, you are not a twin flame, I'm not going to deal with you. Why? Because I believe that every heartbreak, everything that is to do with love, requires transformation, requires the alchemy. Because we don't want to stay in a loop. We don't want to stay in a state of waiting and waiting and waiting. That's another reason why I have said about it that why do I use the energy of Kundalini? Because it's very intelligent energy. And in the beginning, it can look that we are coming because of the heartbreak and we are getting a lot of pain from this. But then when we started to alchemize inside of you the energies, you are starting to let go of it and you're starting to become alive again, and the love is going to come to your life. So it's not about I am twin flame or I am the best of the best. That's why I say it's a very slippery road when it comes down to the label, because we think the label has an outcome. It's the same like I would say in the workplaces, being a manager, being a CEO. We think that being a manager and CEOs are better than somebody, let's say, who is a assistant. But that's not true. We're all the same. We're all the same. The fact that we are just good in certain things and others are not, that's very normal because we need all of us. Without an assistant, the CEO most probably can't get all of the things done. And without CEO, the assistant wouldn't be able to show the skills what they have. So we are all for each other. It's not one or another that is better. But our mind tries to believe that, let's say, the more we have, or the better I am, or the higher structure I have. But that's just from the mind. So it's not, and that's why I do not tell that, yes, you as a twin flame, you are better. But unfortunately, it wasn't a twin flame, so you don't deserve to be here. Not at all. The only thing that I have said is that on so-called twin flames, there's a very specific energy. And I can call this love, unity energy. And that's why many of you are spreading the word, the love, and the light. And I've said that all the time on my workshops, on my retreats. When you come, make sure you're going to go and share it to others, because it more spreads, the more unity we are going to feel. Alone, we don't do much. So what I'm trying to tell you that when you have the awakening happens inside of you, and it's inside of you, and you do not share this or you do not put this into a creation, it is an incomplete transmission. So the law of correspondence. And the vibration is there, but it's never going to be happening. So what I mean is that exactly of mine. I remember when I went on a retreat and it told me, like I said, your job is this. Then I came back from the retreat and the soul started to tell me, you need to start the podcast. You need to do that. And from the very beginning, I was fighting against this. I said, no, me, no. I make a lot of mistakes. I don't want to. Why? Who am I? But it happened because I was like, number one, I had now this contained information, the energy. It's inside of me. It's living, but I'm not transmuting it. I'm holding it to myself. And that's where I realized I was very selfish, extremely selfish. I had discovered magic. I had felt the inner union. I had felt all of this. But now my ego was like, I'm not going to tell to anybody because nobody is going to believe me. And that's another topic I wanted to stop on for a minute. We talk about these things that, and I bring two examples at the end of today's podcast, but we live in this world and we talk about it. This is crazy. You know, this crazy thing happened and this crazy, and then this has happened. And one day I stopped for a moment and I thought, but none of this is crazy. This is happening right in front of our eyes. We see this. We see the synchronicities. We see the coincidences, so-called coincidences. We see how things are flowing. And then we would say, but this is crazy. This is unbelievable. The same way you met your twin, the same way it got awakened, the same way you ended up here on listening to this. None of this is coincidental. None of this is happening because of you will think, oh, what a great surprise. You're here for a reason. And you are free here to listen to this as well. So when I said that I was holding my own awakening, and many of us, that's why there is nothing wrong, in my opinion, when someone starts sharing their journey, writes a book, makes a podcast, start sharing their stories. Because you never know whose heart it's going to open. But when we're also holding it inside of us so deeply, we do not act on that law. And why I didn't, for example, my ego was very afraid. When I said, the soul woke me up and said to me, now you need to do this. And I was terrified. My ego was terrified because of number one, I'm going to be truly seen. I was also afraid that if I let it move outward through me, towards my husband, towards my twin, towards the people who trust me in this session, I would be exposed in a way that I cannot take it back. So meaning of they're gonna see the deepest part of me that I cannot turn around. I cannot have that act on me. But the law of correspondence does not ask your permission before it starts operating. And that's very important when you're asking of this journey. What is happening within you is already showing up without, in your relationship, in your body, in the field around you. And whether or not you're consciously participating in directing it or not, the only choice you actually have is whether you cooperate with that transmission or you're going to quietly resist it. And I was resisting it until I had no option. So this is a very important part to keep in mind, that when the voice is telling you to do something and you have been through something, you have to share it, because if that is already inside of you, your job is to make this into a 3D. Another day I saw a beautiful post about it, which I totally agree with, is that when we are asking for our manifestation and we are receiving the channeled message from the field, we always do. We always receive the information. And then we are receiving it, but we don't act on it. The manifestation, of course, will not become real. So you receiving a message to do something, you are pushing this away because of you saying, well, but I want this. Yeah, you will get this. But listen what the God, the universe, the field is giving you. Make this into a 3D, and then you will be rewarded. And maybe in a very different way that you were thinking. So why this journey is hard, or why this journey is going to break us apart, is many ways. Of course, we know that it's going to kill our ego, the one we think who we are. And I have a little story over here to tell you that it's not going to be only one time in your life. You're going to have many ego deaths. The moment we get attached to some idea and some ways how it has to be, the universe will show us the opposite. And again, we are learning. And again, we're going to unlearn. The more we are able to also unlearn, the more we are able to expand our consciousness and our love. One thing I have said many times on this twin flame journey, that I have no doubts that if you are following what your soul is telling to you, that you will not end up within love. So let's talk about a little bit, before I'm going to go into today's story. Also, I want to talk about Christ and Krishna consciousness, where I have dived deep into. I hopefully we get time for this today. But I want to talk about the vibration and polarity, because of in this journey, I always talk about we are energy, we are vibrating. So everything is constantly giving an information. And now it is not something I'm making up. We know that Albert Einstein, everybody knew about it. Everything is energy and vibration. So what I mean is that when you are asking me, why does it has to be so hard? Oh, by the way, on my website now, twinflameawakeningjourney.com, you can fill a survey. You can look up what is your zodiac sign, what's your twin zodiac sign, what about the separation, what do you believe system around it. And soon we will publish the post about this. So you can go on the twinflameawakeningjourney.com. It's on the first page. You do need to scroll down a little bit and you can fill up this survey. We have already so many. It's been very interesting that recently I think Scorpios and Capricorns have been very much on the place. There for a while there was a Gemini who is a runner and so on. So you can fill this up on your own. It's anonymous. You don't have to add your name. Nothing is there. If you want to just to get the results, you can add your email. You don't have to. So it's just to get some information that we can share with others. So as I said, that everything vibrates. So meaning of that even the masters, everything what we looked, and I have studied recently very strongly about the vibrations, frequency, Christ consciousness, Krishna consciousness, all of the religious books, all of the spiritual books, looking into that. And it all comes down to the same thing, that whoever, like if you learn mastering the principle as holding the power within you, because whoever can consciously shift their own vibration can shift the entire experience built on top of it. And that's why the frequency and holding the energy is very essential. And especially on this journey. Twin Flame journey is not a joke. It's going to awaken you and it's going to transmute you. It's going to transform you. It's going to do so many things that is out of control. And everything is connected. Your heart, your nervous system, your also your hormonal rhythms, all of this, and people around you, everything. So you're learning to shift your vibration is part of this journey. That's what I realized after our first retreat, where we on our first retreat and also before that, we had our workshops, we had like sessions where we come and talk together. And there is nothing wrong of talking. There's absolutely nothing wrong of talking. But most of the time when we talk from our mind. And the ego starts to protect. The ego starts to say, this is the way it is. This is what I want. What most of the time happens in the arguments? It's the ego. It's the ego trying to say, this is how it is. Because we're protecting ourselves. And we're standing for our position. But our soul sees it very differently. And that's where also my soul, through that remembering, told me, we need to go back to the energy. The one that bit us or bite us is also the cure for us. So that's where the Kundalini sucked me in, because I realized the cure is Kundalini. So now when I talk about also the vibration and polarity, these two things go very much together. Because the idea of the universe is that everything has a pair of opposites. And those opposites are not two separate things, but the same things, just expressed as two different ways. In a way, a hot and cold are not different substances. You can feel the hot and the cold, but they're the same. They're just one spectrum of the temperature. Love and its absence are also not different forces. They're one field. It's just differently expressed. We know that. We know many of us on this journey. But vibration and polarity together, and here the love, the law we are living inside of you is that love is at its true frequency so fast, so amazing, so immersed. And it's somehow with nothing to contrast against it. We would have not recognized it. So, meaning of that love without separation, we wouldn't understand how powerful it is, how magnificent it is, and how much it's going to change your love. And when we are experiencing this higher love, now we are remembering. We are remembering that, love is the answer. So now for a while, the love and the mind are going to be, the heart and the mind are going to be in a fight. They're going to tell us stories that are, one is saying one thing and the other thing is saying other thing. The same way I would say as it was for me about podcast, about the workshops, about the retreat. Every single time the soul woke me up and told me this, I was like, what? What's the purpose? What's the reason? But then I quiet my mind and I say, okay, I don't know the answer. And most probably, maybe we'll never know. But sometimes I do know. And today I want to get into the story of what happened. Because many of you, of course, saw this on Instagram. I don't know if I highlighted it, but if I did, you can have a look. But again, I've said many times that on this journey, I don't know what I do. The same is on the channeling. When you are coming to the channeling sessions and you start asking, so why my twin feels this way? Why is this message over there? Why? And I say, I don't know. I am not here to know all the answers. I am here to listen and act on it. I'm not here to tell the full book ahead. How is the closing? I'm here to tell you what are the next things and show it back to you. So that's why many of you are experiencing, when they have sessions with me, a big shifts afterwards. Even if you have the first session and we do this so-called mini activation, I get this so many times back where you say, I did not expect that this is going to happen. I didn't either, but I knew that the soul told me to do this way. And most of the time when I speak the things that I don't know why I say that. I have no clue. So now coming back to this Lionsgate again, here we are. Those of you who would like to join the Lionsgate 808 full day retreat, you can join only one session. You can do a full day session. There are 30 minutes gaps between, meaning of you have a break for 30 minutes until we go until the end. There was a confusion about what if you cannot make for the full day. If you have a full day pass and you can't do the early morning ones in your time zone, we'll send you the recordings right after, meaning of you can continue. And one other beautiful thing about it is that the energy stays in the field. And even though you might not be there doing the exercise, but you were on the field, believe me, you will get affected. So that's the magic of it. That's why I say that it's not about how much we do and how much we suffer and how much, nothing of that. It's about when you are on the field. And there are studies, millions of studies, that if you spend time with people positive, how things will move. If you spend time with people who are negative and saying this has never happened, how things will not move. So now think about it. There are going to be, I don't know how many how many of you have tickets. I'm going to say they went faster than I was expecting. We have limited amount because of course the Zoom cannot host all of you. So just get the ticket earlier than better, like on the last minute, just to make sure that you have it. As only thing is this year I cannot do is the fact that I cannot do the second day. That's the only thing part of it. All right, I've been telling you I'm going to talk about this, and I never get to that because so many other things are coming between. So a year ago, and I think it was already a year before or something like this, I bought the tickets to the Justin Timberlake's concert, and I knew I want to go for it. I always liked Justin Timberlake's music, and it happened to be that I could go into this. But of course, God, the universe, the plan had different plans. I became pregnant in between, so I knew I cannot go. But I also didn't think about it, what I'm going to do with the ticket. I was like, okay, it's going to be the way it's going to be. And we had our Lionsgate, we had this magical activation, and then we had another workshop right after this. And on this very morning, when I woke up, the soul told me, you are going to give this ticket to her. And I was like, okay. I could have sold it. I could have given to my friends who are living in the same country. But the message was very, very clear. You're going to give it to her. Why? I had no idea. And what's beautiful is that today I know why. And I think that's the reason I live for these moments. That's the reason I do what I do, because it comes the full circle eventually. So anyways, we had that workshop again. And at the end of the workshop, which you can see it on Patreon, I said, hey, are you here? Listen, I have something to give away for you if you are willing to go. And I loved her reaction on this because now, especially for looking back to it, her reaction was for this that I was dreaming about this. I had that feeling I have to be there. But why was that the feeling she has to be there? We didn't know the answer. So as I said, the concert happened. She went on a concert. It was pouring rain on that day and wasn't the best weather to go for. But there she was, against all the odds. She was on this event or in this concert. And I was very happy. My heart was so happy that, yay, it. And I remember I even told to my husband, I told to other people that made me so happy to give it to her. I just felt that this was exactly how it's supposed to. And so now a year went by, and she shared with me that on that same very concert, there was a man right next to her. Across all of these people who were there was a man. And she ended up also living and going into the same house or in the building where he was living. But at the time, there was no understanding. Now these two are together. And the way she's growing and glowing. And I just want to read this, what she wrote to me. As she said, I had that feeling I have to be there. The same way was that I had that weird feeling that I have to give it to her. And why she had to go there? Because the love was waiting her there. The love was there for her. And what makes me extremely happy about this journey, despite the fact that it's going to break us, it's going to show us madness over here, what's happening to us, is seeing how we are coming out of this cage from that jail. And this is why you met also your twin. I've said that so many times on the podcast that if you are going to look back on your journey, listen what your twin told you. Listen what they said, because they told the truth about who you are. They are the ones who came to show you who you truly are. So yes, we don't like hearing all of this, how do I say, that it's a spiritual awakening. That is, for your highest good, that you're going to go to the union within you and you prefer to have all of your twin in your life. And you can have that. This is already all given to there. But all of this is what's happening to you right now, right here, is for your soul's consciousness, for your evolution. And I bring another thing that I read another day. I'm just going to give it, it's just a theory as well. But I think it's very interesting to look into on this journey. As I said, there is no right and wrong over here. The only thing is what I wanted to add is the fact that I know many of you are actually looking for closure, meaning of you met your twin, never heard from them again, don't know what's going on with them, and you never really got an answer that did they love you? Did they feel this way? And so you're longing for it. And I've said many times, for me, it's very different because I did get my closure and it gave me a peace. And then, of course, the soul started to whisper louder than ever before. I have done things on this journey that make zero sense, and most of it makes zero sense. Moving to Cyprus made zero sense. Starting the podcast made zero sense because I had no reason. Like I said, I'm not the one who's going to tell people how to live. But at the same time, like I said, everything is a law, universal law, and we have to follow it. That's why we have these experiences. And I'm not going to say that everyone has to become a podcaster, everybody has to become a book writer, everybody has to become a YouTuber or sharing their wisdom. I'm not saying that at all. Because maybe the job where you are at this moment is exactly who needs you there. Because you are radiating that light towards them. You are the one who is holding it. Not all of us has to become spiritual teachers and spiritual gurus and I don't know, whatever you name it. No. What you have to be is example who is following the soul, because that's how you ignite others around you. That's the only way. So where is the stories? The story. Here we go. That's how she wrote to me. Later, I realized at that very concert you gave me as a gift, among that huge crowd, the man standing right next to me was him. We only discovered it later from a photo. And then, somehow, I ended up in the very same building where he happened to live. There are no coincidences in life, only magic. Life brings you exactly what you're ready for. And he had been beside me all along, but only now did they truly enter into my life. Life brought us together, and I never experienced anything like this before. I dream about things, and then he talks about them. It's a feeling of being cherished and loved unconditionally, not just falling in love, but simply knowing. And I just had to share this. Your gift to that concert meant so much, and it's incredible that the sea of people, I was already standing next to me. He is like me, but in a man's form. I've never experienced anything like what I have experiencing now. It's so pure, so genuine, and so real. So thank you, my dear, for being who you are, for trusting me, and for doing what you do. And I'm going to tell you that if on that morning I would have woken up and said, no, I'm not giving this to her, maybe it was already written in the stars and would have happened one form or another. But it was also the soul that whispered to me, saying, you are the next one who is going to do this. This is why I do what I do. None of it makes sense. None of it. If you think that the Lionsgate event makes sense to me, or the Cyprus retreat that is coming up, or anything else, none of it. None of it makes sense. But the soul says, and I am following it. I'm going to talk a little bit today also about the Christ and Krishna consciousness. This is a little bit deeper version, but I just, maybe you're interested, maybe it opens up something inside of you, and it has not so much to do with twin flames, but I'm going to talk about this as well because of, I think overall as a consciousness, we have a lot in oneness. So I'm going to talk about this a little bit, and I'm going to read here something that I saw another day, which I can say maybe sparks something inside of us. So there is this story, or former NASA contractor and physicist Thomas Campbell is currently going viral for theory that somehow sounds straight out of a science fiction movie. And the meaning is that the universe records every human decision as a part of the larger system designed to develop consciousness. So he believes physical reality operates like an information based simulation, with humans acting as avatars controlled by individual consciousness. And according to his my big toe theory, every decision creates consequences and gives people an opportunity to evolve by replacing fear, selfishness, and chaos with love, cooperation, and compassion. And under this idea, life is not simply a collection of random experiences. Every difficult situation becomes a test of a character, and spiritual growth is measured by the intention behind our choices, not merely by what we accomplish. However, Campbell claims remains a personal theoretical model combining physics, philosophy, and spirituality, not established as a discovery or scientifically proven fact. Still, that theory has sparked powerful questions across social media. What if every decision we make is revealing who we are becoming? And I found this went very well with today's journey. What if every decision, maybe I'm just gonna, you don't have to do this, but I just bring it in. What if sharing this podcast with someone will spark something inside of them? And I know some people have done this, and I've met amazing people. What if telling a story, what you heard over here or overheard somewhere, or leaving a comment? I know that some of your comments have been extremely helpful for somebody else. What if you're listening to that little voice that brings you to the next, and it's all collective? And that's the reason I also say that when we practice something together, it's incredible what starts to happen. And I see this in the eyes of people. And I have said many times that I don't plan to be selfish. Everything I know, everything that has changed and shifted me, I am more than happy to share. More than happy. And I have said that on our previous episode. My abundance is your abundance, and your abundance is my abundance. I am now going to tell you a little bit about, because recently I have been looking into a Krishna consciousness a lot and Christ consciousness. I just want to tell a funny story. I tell you, everything is very connected. When I was a child, I was very much against religion and even maybe spirituality, but I didn't, like, in that sense, I wouldn't say spirituality. I was against anything that was a cult kind of liking or forcing me to think the way they want me to think and what is right and what is wrong. That's why I never fit into kindergarten and never went. I was a bit of a rebel as a child. I would always tell my opinion the way I feel it, and I had no filter whatsoever. And I remember that anything what was something to do with religion, I immediately said like no. And I even know that, for example, my own father, who had passed away, I was always forced to go to the graveyard. And I said, I don't want to go to graveyard. What the hell? What am I doing there? He's not there. He's here. He's right next to me. Why I have to go there? But now, of course, I understand that it's also a part of grieving. It also gives a peace. It gives a person a feeling to connect. But as a child, I was operating from a different ways, and I did not believe that people are in the graveyard. I felt them always around me. And until today, I don't go. I always feel that I have an access any place, anytime. So, but just to tell you that, like I said, I was not the happiest person about when it came of any religion or spiritual thing. And I remember there were Krishnas coming, and they were barefoot, and they were singing Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna. And I remember that very vividly. And who was the number one who was mocking them? Me. And I am now also a believer a little bit that things that trigger us, even my podcast, I know that are there. There is something that we need to dive deeper in. And I remember that this Hare Krishnas, they really triggered me. I was thinking, why are they walking barefoot, singing this Hare Krishna, Krishna? And until today, it's like, in my subconscious. Hare Krishna, Krishna. Well, now, against all the odds in this world, who is reading about Krishna consciousness and Christ consciousness and all of that? Me, of course, me. And and why I want to talk about it, because we feel that we are in this new age spirituality and everything is new, but it's just about the translation. It all comes down to the same thing. And I'm going to go through this, and you can, of course, make your own decision, your own way of seeing it, your own way, or your own answers. Because one of the things what I love about all of you is that it's not about right and wrong. It's about sharing your perspective, sharing your experience, sharing the piece and bits together, and bigger picture starts to come. I don't believe that there is only one truth and only one way, but maybe some of you do. So you're more than welcome always to write about it. So what I talk about, one of the things when I was starting to read the Krishna consciousness, I thought, but maybe the Krishna consciousness is a Christ consciousness. And I do believe that they are one way or another connected. But Yogananda, many of you know Yogananda, is one of the figures of somehow bringing the Eastern philosophy into a Western spiritual language now in the 20th century. So meaning of the Yogananda spoke a lot about Christ consciousness. But what's interesting that sometimes he wrote about Krishna as Krishna, meaning of a Christ. Even though the books I recently read, they were like, oh no, it's not the same thing. Inside of me, I feel it's all the same consciousness. It's just written differently. And when Yogananda was teaching this state, it isn't about, again, private property of one religion. It is a shared destination underneath all of them. And I feel that's the same on Twin Flame Journey. It is not a private property, meaning of that I know how to get to the union. I know this, now come to this. No, I believe all of us know. What we need is to remember. So, within the Krishna consciousness tradition itself, the teaching is that this awareness, deep affection for and union within the Supreme, it is our original natural condition. And we only forget it because what's called Maya, illusion, the very thing that makes us believe that we are separate, isolated, purely physical beings with purely physical problems. And Krishna consciousness in that framework isn't something foreign being installed inside of you. It's something being remembered. The covering being lifted off something that was there all a time. And it's the same on Twin Flame. It is about being remembered. Remembering love, remembering why you met, remembering the energy, remembering where you come from, remembering everything. And Christ consciousness carries the same architectures. It just translated into a different vocabulary. And if you are really looking at serious teachers across tradition, it describes it's not a belief in a historical figure, but as a state of awakened awareness in which you directly realize your unity with the divine and with all life. A state that is exemplified by Jesus but not confined to Christianity, and echoed under different names in Buddhism, in Vedanta, in Sufi mysticism, and in Kabbalah. And all of it is there. Compassion, sacrifice, devotion, delight, freedom within form. So it's all there. And why do I talk about these two things right now? That because of it experiences separation, longing, often unbearable pain. and it's a direct consequence of that forgetting. So that's why I say that we are remembered this frequently through the pain rather than around it, back to remembering of unity, of love, of home. And that's why many of you feel when you meet your twin, I felt I finally arrived home. And this is Gita. This is the Bhagavad Gita, or we'll read the Bible, or we'll read any other religious books. You are not separate from one another. You're one with the God, you're one with the universe, you're one within you. And all of this is very important. So that's why I say it's not about becoming religious, becoming spiritual, becoming this, becoming... You don't have to become anybody. You have to remember. Stop becoming and start remembering. Remember the love when you met your twin. Remember the words your twin told you. Remember what is the guidance your twin has given you, and follow now this guidance. Pick up the steps and become who you're supposed to become. And don't hold it inside of you. Don't hide it from the world. You have it all. So this is what I wanted to tell you, that you are here to remember. Hopefully something sparked inside of you that made you to realize, yes, now I know. And I had this very brief conversation with another beautiful soul another day in channeling, where we talked about it. And she said that I understand when you talk about union, but I have never felt it. And as I haven't felt that inner union within me, it's difficult for me to get there. And I said, absolutely. But believe me, step by step, when you follow what I'm showing here, you get there. You'll get there, no doubt. And no doubt you will get there. I have no questions over here. So now let's talk about what is coming up. On the 1st of August, we will be practicing again Jupiter Kriya together. Jupiter is entering into Leo. Magic is about to happen. You don't have to believe me, but you know, when I see what's happening to the people who have been practicing, who've been coming, they're glowing. They're absolutely glowing. Same way this woman is glowing who had met this person. I have endless of examples. So don't miss that. It's absolutely free to join Jupiter Kriya. We practice together. I love it. Now then, in 2 weeks' time, we're gonna have the Lionsgate. Yay! Lionsgate is magical. Don't miss that portal. You don't have to join what I am telling here, not at all. Because your soul knows where you have to be. Your soul knows what is the next step. Everything is interconnected. You just follow the voice that is telling you. But there is an opportunity. There is an opportunity to join online session. And you're more than welcome to do so. And of course, I'm more than happy to have you there. And I have a little secret. Every one of you who buys a ticket after the Lionsgate, you will receive a voucher. That will be for one day when our other dream is becoming real. That you will have a one night for free to stay in a magical place that we are currently making possible. And that will be yours whenever you feel like, I need to have this experience. But I would say, don't miss that experience. Whichever way, whether you join the Lionsgate online retreat with me, whether you go with someone in person, or whether you are organizing something, however you're doing it, the soul knows why. And you just need to trust that. So make sure you're gonna trust it. And then Cyprus retreat. We have last 2 spots available for the house in the shared bedroom. Don't be afraid of sharing a room with someone. Many of you have become very good friends of one another and helping and supporting. The only difference this year is that you can join without an accommodation, meaning of you can book your own place wherever you feel like. Maybe you want more privacy, maybe you have something else in mind. We have that opportunity. Plus, we have day passes. So you can just join for a day, 2 or 3, whenever it aligns you. So it's all out there. And the good news is that from the Italy retreat, already people are planning to come back. So it's a good sign that People who have attended previously always want to return. Some of you have done 3 times, 4 times, and some of you are new. And men, don't be afraid of joining. Don't be afraid of joining at all. It's not a female retreat. What we do is deeply subconscious, deeply shifting, changing, and it's a life-changing, whether you believe in me or not. But I am not here to convince anybody. I'm here to say, try on your own and see what happens. So your twin flame journey is not here to punish you. It's not here to make you suffer on the separation. And yes, sometimes the energies will get very, very strong, especially when there's a Schumann resonance and fight and comes from the sun. I know that because my lion's gate made me finally to surrender. Spoke about this on my our previous podcast. So anyways, what I am telling to you is this episode was here to remind you that listen to that little whisper that is telling you something. It's telling you the truth, and you are ready for it. I send you a lot of love, and I send you a lot of light, because you are the true star. Thank you for being here, and see you on the next episodes.
If I had another life to live, I'd chase the mornings, not just the noise. I'd take the risks I always talked myself out of, and let my voice grow loud when it wants to be loud. I'd grab the reins before they're offered, run like the clock is already calling my name. Let my eyes collect every color this world keeps hidden. Let my feet wear thin the roads I never dared to walk. Let my heart stay open even when it's cracked before, because none of this was ever meant to stay. I've had my nights of fire and my mornings after, beauty tangled up with the ache, faces I love, rooms I've called home. I'd bottle everyone if I could. Paid for it in tears I didn't hide. I've let old wounds close, slow and quiet. Felt everything, even the parts that hurt to feel. I've run from myself more than once, and left bruises on people who didn't deserve them. Told myself next time I do